Recently, Kodansha, a publisher of many manga here in the US and Japan, released their own official manga reader app. I decided to check it out since one of my favorite manga, Grand Blue Dreaming, was finally getting officially translated again. It's been about a year since Kodansha pulled it from the other manga reader services, and about 6 months since they pulled their other manga from those services. I have to admit I was a bit excited to be able to keep up with Grand Blue and even Temple again, as well as possibly check out some series I hadn't gotten around to yet. Upon opening the app, I was greeted with a banner for a ton of free chapters. Things looked pretty promising. However, as I found out, there's something insidious about this app once you dig a little deeper. Something very similar to mobile games and live service games. To celebrate the launch of the K Manga App, entire series like Fairy Tail, Tokyo Revengers, and Attack on Titan are available for free until November 9th, 2023. In addition, titles such as The Fable and Chihaya Faru will have the first 5 volumes available for free, and Blue Lock will have the first 3 volumes available for free. The volumes of these titles will be available for free until July 9th, 2023. Quite an enticing offer if you liked those anime but hadn't checked out the manga yet, or the live-action movies in the case of The Fable, which I did a video on a while back, so check that out if you're interested. Fairy Tail, Tokyo Revengers, and Attack on Titan, The Fable, Chihaya Faru, and Blue Lock, as well as all the other series on the app, are only free for X amount of chapters, after which you have to exchange a ticket to read the next quote-unquote free chapter. Tickets are free. You get 1 ticket for each series that allows you to rent a chapter for 72 hours. And after you exchange that ticket, you have to wait 23 hours for that ticket to recharge before you can use it again to read the next chapter. There are also premium tickets that are earned through login bonuses or various campaigns that can be used on any series that has a ticket exchange option for a chapter. However, those premium tickets expire after a day, so you have to use them or lose them. All of this is designed to keep you and me, the reader, coming back to the app at least on a daily basis, much like mobile games or live service games. It may not cost you any actual money, but it does cost you time, whether it's waiting for a ticket to be charged or finding something to read so you don't lose a premium ticket. That said, this ticket system might be fine for some, especially if you're someone on a budget and want to read some good manga from Kodansha. However, it's when you get to the paid chapters that things get more nefarious. As it turns out, not all chapters have a ticket exchange option. Part of this problem is the usual digital goods problem. If Kodansha goes out of business, or more likely, one day decides to shut down the K Manga service, you'll most likely lose access to everything you bought. This is true of most digital goods. You don't buy ownership of a product, you buy a license to access it. However, there is a convenient side to the digital goods argument. For instance, I don't have the space or room for a library of physical manga, but I have a bunch of room for a library of digital manga on my iPad. However, my bigger problem with the paid chapters on K Manga starts with the pricing. Instead of actually using real money, K Manga has its own premium currency, because of course it does, called points. And chapters don't just cost a flat rate of points either. The latest chapters usually cost 99 points, but older chapters for most series only cost 69 points. However, while browsing titles, I found that Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slimes chapters cost 179 points for the newest chapters, and 139 points for older chapters. Then there are cases like Grand Blue, where a single chapter is split into 2, sometimes even 3 parts. Each part still costs either 99 or 69 points. But reading the latest chapter of Grand Blue would actually cost you a total of 198 points, possibly even 297 points. As for where you can get these points, you can read select special manga chapters that gift you 5 points. You can also watch advertisements. After watching these commercials, you're able to choose from one of 3 chests where you have a chance to win up to 50 points. But more likely, you'll only ever get 5 points from one of these chests. On top of that, you can only watch ads up to 3 times a day. So only if you're really lucky will you earn enough to read the latest chapter of a manga. But even if you got 150 points in one day, it's still not enough for the latest chapters of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime or Grand Blue Dreaming. Realistically, you can probably earn 20 points a day watching ads and reading the special chapter, which is enough to buy an older 69-point chapter after 4 days. Certainly doable if there's a series you really wanted to read and didn't want to spend too much money to get caught up on it, but it essentially adds a grinding or farming mechanic to a manga reader app. And that's just a weird thing to say about something that isn't a video game. There are also special offers with varying reward amounts. You sign up for one of these services or take a survey and get points in the K Manga app that way. Yes, it's potentially a lot more points, but at best it's another account on another service that you have to deal with. At worst, it costs you as much, if not more, than just buying the points in the app. As with many mobile games and live services, you can buy the premium currency. When you look at the options for buying points, if you were to base it on the dollar, you might think you would come out pretty well. If $1 equals 100 points, this might look like a great deal. But don't focus on the amount of points you get, focus on the amount of actual money it costs you to read a series. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, there are different chapter prices, which makes it harder to determine how much money you'll actually be spending. Let's take a look at a popular series, Blue Lock, as an example. If you wanted to buy the entire series, it would cost 13,515 points. If you wanted to buy these points with real money, you would need to buy the $80 points tier, the $41 points tier, and the $8 points tier. Add all that up and it's about $129 before taxes. Easily over $130 after sales tax just to read Blue Lock on K Manga. And that's just for the chapters that are out now. It's an ongoing series, so it's just going to get more expensive as they add more chapters. Blue Lock isn't even the most expensive series either. A series like Baby Steps would cost 31,050 points to read the entire series. Easily over $300 just to read one series. If you look around at other official manga reader apps, a lot of them have a subscription model that gives you access to all the chapters of a series on the platform for a fairly nominal fee. Azuki and Mangamo are $4.99 a month each. Viz Manga and Shonen Jump, which includes things like Chainsaw Man, Spy Family, My Hero Academia, and classics like Inuyasha and Urusei Yatsura. Shonen Jump is $2.99 per month, and Viz Manga is only $1.99 per month. Let's say you have a subscription to all 4 of these services: Azuki, Mangamo, Viz Manga, and Shonen Jump. That would cost you about $15 a month, and you'd have access to over 10,000 chapters to some really good manga, and you'll maybe even find a new favorite. If you spend $15 a month on K Manga, the most amount of chapters you could buy would be around 22 chapters. To be completely blunt, while I absolutely adore some of the manga that Kodansha has published, their K Manga app has introduced some of the worst garbage from mobile games and live service games into a manga reader app. The only reason to introduce such a system is to nickel and dime their readers. Even a similar service like Kamaki, where you have to buy keys to unlock chapters, has the goodwill to make the latest chapter of a series free for a limited time. The K Manga app just makes Kodansha look completely tone deaf to the current manga market in the US. I would have much preferred a monthly subscription to K Manga. Kodansha has some of my favorite manga, and some manga I've been meaning to check out, but comparing it to something like Shonen Jump, which is $2.99 a month with unlimited access, I'm more likely to check more manga out and find something new there that'll keep me coming back. And that's not even including the Manga Plus app from Shueisha, where you can read a bunch of Shonen Jump manga completely free one time. It's a great way to find the latest and greatest Shonen Jump manga. Since I'm more likely to stick to my known favorites on K Manga, I don't see myself checking out too many new series, since it costs so much just to keep up with my favorites. And once my favorite series do end, I don't see myself continuing to use K Manga, at least not the way it is right now. To try and describe the K Manga app more elegantly, it's like walking into a bookstore. Picture a Books A Million or a Barnes & Noble. You want to pick up some of your favorite manga, maybe check out something new. But when you walk through the door, you find out that you can't use your real money, and you have to exchange it for their weird in-store currency if you want to buy anything. And as you look around, you see people watching commercials on TVs set up around the store, and then they get a little ticket as a reward, so they can rent a chapter of the manga they were planning to read, and then bring it back 3 days later. In another part of the store, you can see people opening random chests, trying to get enough points to buy a chapter. Standing in the middle of the store and taking it all in, you begin to realize that this Books A Million or Barnes & Noble is about as much of a bookstore as it is a Chuck E. Cheese. K Manga is the Chuck E. Cheese of manga reader apps. K Manga's business model is based on making people impatient and getting them to spend money on the premium currency, and then tricking and confusing people about how much money they are actually spending. Whereas Viz Manga and Shonen Jump's business model seem to be based on providing good service for their customers. I'd rather go to a bookstore that's run like a real bookstore with friendly customer service than a bookstore that's run like a kid's pizza parlor. Unfortunately, the bookstore that is run like a kid's pizza parlor is the only bookstore that has Kodansha manga possibly up to a full year before anywhere else. At the very least, 6 months before the volumes are released physically or digitally elsewhere. At least, legally. All I can really say at this point is that I hope this doesn't become the norm for other manga reader apps. It's probably making Kodansha some decent money now, but it's not a model I'm going to support in the long run after my favorite series end. Maybe they'll get it together, add a subscription service, and phase out these tickets and points, but I'm not holding my breath. With all that said, what are your thoughts on the K Manga app, and what's your favorite manga reader app? I assume it's not K Manga. Go ahead and let me know in the comments below. As always, I've been Anime Visor, thanks for watching, and see you later.
The emergence of inorganic agents.